from there, the film footage that the ones that have seen that film footage is what it all started. Roger, our horse was kind of, I said blew up a couple of times, but then people said, well, how do horses blow up? Well, you know, so I kind of rephrase what I say about that. They say, well, bombs blow up, and what do horses go all to pieces? I said, no, they just, you know, horses are prey animals and they get excited and they're a little tough to handle at times. So Roger's little horse was kind of a spunky little horse. He was a POA crossed with quarter horse, which is not a very tall horse, about 14'1" or 2" tall. And of course, Roger wasn't a very big guy, and he always rode with the saddlebag on the left-hand side. With the saddlebag had 3 flaps on it. It buckled down, and Roger rode with the 2 unbuckled and 1 buckled down. So if he needed to get to the camera pretty quick or whatever happened, he could do that. So when this all happened and that little horse threw a fit, I'll put it that way. Anyway, Roger was he's quite an athlete anyway, and the horse was jumping and running around. He stepped off the horse and grabbed his camera out of there. And that's why when you see this film footage at the beginning, and it's all shaky and stuff, Roger's running across the creek. And the creek was about 12, 14 foot across and probably 18 inches deep at that time. And on the fore side of it, it just elevated slightly with the bank, and the soil was kind of a loamy, sandy type soil that had washed down from the mountains during the flood in 63, 64 that they had down there that caused all the problems in the cities along the coast. So anyway, there's a log laying there about half underneath the sand, and Roger got across the creek, stabilized himself on that log. And that's the film footage that you see as she's leaving at the beginning of it. I say she, I didn't know whether it was a she or a he or what it was at that time. And I thought, I had never seen actual footprints, so I said, by golly, these things really do exist. So this creature walked away, never did break into a run. And so Roger wanted to get into a different position because it was getting a little farther away. So he asked me if I would cover him. Well, I didn't know I knew what I had to do, but I didn't know what the creature was going to do. And we both had rifles in our saddle scabbards. At that particular time, I had a 30-06 with 180 grain bullets, and you hunters will know what I'm talking about. So I knew I could not, if I had to make a shot, which I didn't really think about it that much because I didn't know I knew what the creature was, but I didn't know what it was going to do. As long as it was walking away, I had no problem with it. So I rode across the creek, so I'd be kind of off to the back side of it, off kind of to your right in the back. And I stepped down off the horse, pulled the rifle out of the scabbard, and I never raised it to my shoulder ever. I just held it because I was kind of mesmerized as long as she was walking away. I wanted to kind of see as much as I could because, you know, I didn't know really what to think about the whole situation, and Roger was all this time filming. So this frame that you see her turn that they use so much of, it was the frame that when she was walking, when I stepped down off the horse, she made that turn and looked at me, the one that they put on these belt buckles and so forth, and that the public uses. So folks, that is, and they kind of went on from there. Roger said, hey, I wanted to get back on my horse and follow her when she got out of sight around up a little draw. And he said, no, hey, wait here. He said, I ran out of film and my horse is gone with the rifle. I don't have anything here. He said, just wait, help me catch the horse, my horse, and then we will follow the way it went. And I said, okay. So it took us a few minutes to catch up Roger's horse. I went down and caught him with my horse. And so then he said, well, I got to get the film and a camera. And I don't know much about those old cameras, but he had to get underneath the poncho and get the film in. And he said, then we'll follow which way that it went and maybe get another chance to film it again. Well, we did that, but we didn't get another chance to see her or see it. So we went back and started making we had to go back down to camp, which was about 3 miles from where we actually saw the creature, and got the plaster of Paris or whatever type of material Roger was using. I didn't know anything about that. But anyway, we came back and we did a few things there with it, and Roger made some plaster casts, which I think a lot of you have seen this plaster cast or copies of the one that Roger made. And there was some speculation, which I don't know, but there's been a lot of speculation about this film, but a guy named Bob Titmus went down shortly after that, I think I don't really remember how many days, because we left the next day, and that was a nightmare that it'd take all night to tell you about that, because it took all day to get back down to Bluff Creek out of there, because it started raining that night, and it really came down. So it was really tough to get out of there the next day, and Bob